U5 Entertainment to the fans and the people that support us. U5, we did it.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? We're back here with U5 News Flash. This is episode number 15. Yeah, that's what's going on. This is Rated U5. I want to welcome you back. You know, this is the premier art and entertainment podcast that's out. Oh, yeah, get your mind right.
Oh yeah!
Our brothers are right. We got two. I've got myself and my big brother Poor, KO Crew Kings Only.
Yes!
And we've got our guests, our esteemed guests, Smend and his brother Optick. So let me go and you guys are off mute. That's good. Make sure that your volume is raised up all the way so everyone gets a clear audio on YouTube. And first of all, let's start off with Smend. Smend, tell me where you at right now and what's up?
Well, peace be upon you, brother Rated. Been all over, man. You know, grew up in Jamaica, Queens. That was the 80s and the 90s for me. Then we located out in Dallas, Texas, did our thing, and now, you know, I got some land in Iowa. So over there now, it's a different life. Oh, so I actually, you know, got caught up in that for about 8 years. I didn't piece at all, and met some folks on Facebook and whatnot, and rocked a piece. Took a break from 2016, then rocked the first one in 23. Can Control was still there, letters were still there. I said, oh, I could do this again. Went out to Payne Lewis a couple of times. And then I try to get my you know, lettering and piecing in now. So kind of back, not fully like I'd like to, but you know, a little bit active again.
Well, you're very humble because you've got fantastic artwork. I've obviously seen it firsthand when I had the opportunity to get out there to Texas with you and your brother. For me, you've got such a fluid artwork, and we're gonna get into all that. But let's also welcome your brother Optick. What's up, Optick?
Yeah!
I'm good, maintaining everything in physical existence. Living out here in Anchorage, Alaska. Basically exiled myself from the rest of the world, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, I'm at peace, and I'm taking care of my health. Oh, that's my alarm right now. I gotta get ready for the job. But, yeah, just you know, doing what I do, man. I practice every day, and try to stay sharp, man. And preparing myself for the graffiti recon, just, you know, because the culture is dying so bad. All these boys coming out the woodworks with their arrogance, so I could just like destroy them with just one tag alone to destroy everything they got. So that's how I'm preparing myself for the graph wars.
Gotcha. All right, last but not least, my big brother Poor. What's up, bro? What's going on? Introduce yourself out there to all the people out there looking. Yeah,
ladies and gentlemen, it's me, 4-1, Kings Only, CCG Crew, U5. You already know how we doing.
That's what's up. And where you at right now, Poor? Let folks know where you're at.
Yeah, right now I'm in New York City, Washington Heights.
All right. And
And
so
people
this,
know I'm still representing Brooklyn all the way to the fullest.
yeah. So this is man. I've been waiting for this day, man. I was just counting down the days. Come on, it's almost here. Not only to go and see you, of course, my big bro, but also to see these two brothers right here that, you know, I had the opportunity to go and meet up with. I think I had linked up with you first, man. This was back in the days. So the first question I got for you, man, is when I met you online, you went by Zane, and I want to get back to that. Which did you write first, and you know why the change to Smend?
Well, you know, Zane was or is my you know my what they say in the ghetto vernacular, my government, you know. So, but the thing was that there was other ones out there already. In Jamaica, Queens, there was one that was TWB Crew, and I would say that was the main crew that influenced Optick and myself growing up, and so there was one from there. Used to rock some dope ass, folded ZI throw ups, and then there was that other Zaner from WR and UK. So I don't want to be in a long line of that, even though that's my real name and whatnot. So Smend I had since '90, and just ran with that. I've got some other backups too, okay. and when a lot of the backup tags started out as a joke, like if I saw someone who was kind of like deserved the gas face, I would just straight up house their tag, and I'd be like, "Yo, I'm gonna do your shit, do your joint better than you are."
Yeah. You had the talent to do it, and I thought you might have taken up the mantle, Zane, after seeing one other popular writer from Top Crew who wrote Sane, and I used to love his simple throwaways that he did. S-A-A.
He was dope.
And I think my brother Ford might have known about Sane from Top Crew.
Yeah. Yeah, I know him. He's a good throw too.
Yeah. And so, all right, so that explains that. And so how long, first of all, when did you start writing graffiti? When did you actually start tagging up and getting involved in graffiti?
See, that's the thing. All of us being New Yorkers. I mean, you're of course you're a couple of years older than me. But even when I was coming up, everybody wrote. Everybody in junior high, everybody, their older brother and their cousins and uncles, the girls wrote, the guys wrote, everyone wrote. So it was like it was like I was watching like Freddy Krueger and stuff like that, doing those drippy horror letters, and they were like, yo, instead of doing those horror letters, add some arrows and add some 3D and this and that. So
that's what I remember. Started doing the arrows. Because I
So it just started like that. All right.
So did you now? First of all, growing up, did your brother write as well? I mean, were you guys competing with each other? Did you guys go out writing together? I mean, what was that relationship you had with a brother that wrote?
You know what the thing was? We're actually mischievous little shits doing pranks, like on some Bart Simpson bullshit, But as for writing, I would honestly say that Optick had it more natural than I did. I kind of learned. It was because I was focused on how to do it, and he was just doing it spontaneously. So his style, even to today, is more spontaneous, where he'll just add a drip or an arrow, whereas mine is more structured, and that could be seen as a strength or a weakness,
Yeah. So, but your brother does it more fluently, right? He got like more of a natural style.
He if I had to battle anyone, I mean, you name your top riders, I would not break a sweat on that. But if somebody told me that I have to battle Optick, I'd be like, yo, I got my.
I gotta look at you. Oh. Yeah, you gotta this Optick style is good. So Optick, question posed towards you. Then growing up in the 80s, you guys are still out there in Queens at that point in the 80s?
Yeah.
All right, so in the 80s, tell me about what was the environment like in the 80s in Queens? Because I always talk about how things were going on in Bushwick, Brooklyn, but tell me about how things were going on in Queens in the 80s.
I had to walk to school every day, so I went to PS 86 on Parsons Boulevard. And right behind PS 86 was Hillcrest High School, Queens Hall of Fame. And right there from our recess time, you could see the handball courts pieced up and everything. I remember seeing that stuff, and I was like, man,
in the early 80s?
Yeah.
Like late 80s, actually.
Oh, yeah, like 87, 88, yeah, pretty much like our time,
yeah. 86, 87 to the years. And I don't remember the exact words that were written, but as a kid, I was watching a lot of TV, and one of my favorite shows was V. So I remember the way that V was written with the spray paint dripping, right? So I was like always, so when I first found my can of spray paint, I practiced that shit.
Where'd you get the drip?
and I was addicted. And then Smend brought it home with the whole thing. So I used to have Smend draw me things. And then I remember in elementary school, I was with classmates, and they had older brothers and cousins who wrote, and they would always have pieces on their folders, like the binders.
And their notebooks and stuff like that.
Yeah, the denim binders and stuff.
Yeah,
And they'll have this shit. And I remember seeing that stuff. I was mesmerized, but I was too shy to talk to them and say, "Hey, you know, make requests and stuff." But when Smend brought it home, his graffiti writing partners would rock outlines for me and give me my tag and stuff. So it was all about handwriting. I wasn't really into the piecing. I was more into the hand style because I always loved the way draftsmen and architecture would write straight lines.
Right. Especially now, they got so many new styles with that. So first you see all these new people coming out with some immaculate style, like, damn, why we know it's all this shit like that, you know?
I want to ask all three of you, starting with Paul, my brother Paul, who influenced your style? Who influenced your artwork? Who was the main influence for you, Paul?
Honestly speaking, pretty much I would say OEP13 when they started coming out, and then Baby 168. They used to write with Rio and Pio.
Oh yeah.
You know, but it was really pretty much them that I used to see on the train passing by, you know, because we lived on Murder on Broadway on Ditmar before the M train makes that turn.
Right.
And so we used to see the train clearly, like.
Yeah, we had a good spot, right? We had front row seats.
That's when we had the.
GA lived over there on Grove. GA would see the J's and the M's roll right by. We also had that there on Ditmars because we lived on the top floor.
Right. And I remember when I first saw that the Campbell Soup one, and that passed by, and I was like, oh shit.
Yeah. And so, Optick, how did you get your name? How did you come up with the name Optick?
Oh man, so one of my first tags was given to me was med and drama, and those were taken already. So we gave this tag to one of my schoolmates in junior high, and he never used it, so I took it. And the people we grew up around in Jamaica was crews like AFC, All Fucking City, and that was Attack's crew, and he was a script writer. So my one of my teachers, who was Smend's partner at that time, AGE, he was Attack's bombing partner also at that time, and they
used to write on the A lines, right?
Huh?
He used to write on the A lines, right?
I think so. He was all city.
Oh yeah.
He used to write script, ATTACK, and so Age gave me Optic with that script tag, so I stuck with it. And then I met Attack, very humble dude, also military special forces, and he would always rock throw ups and stuff. He would do throw ups for his whole crew. So BMK sort of adopted that to where Smend would rock and Age would rock everybody's letters and give us all our outlines and throw ups. You know, so it was like a dope structure because they were on some captain, sergeant, major shit to where they knew everybody's duty, how to train people, how to, you know, and whatnot. So it was very good structure of leadership.
Let me ask you, what was the first line that you and your brother hit?
The F train.
And actually, if I could chime in, Optic, allow me 10 seconds, bro. We started doing vans, like all the commercial vans. We over a span of maybe a month or so, we did like good 500 vans. So in the neighborhood, you know, people started knowing us, and then from the vans come the highways, and then we go into Van Wyck or you know 121st. Hit those lines up with bullshit throw ups and whatnot, because you know we weren't our style, we didn't, come into our own yet. But to piggyback off what Poor was saying about the names he mentioned, cats like Baby 168, Scan, P.O., a lot of them actually influenced my mentor, who was Sonar TWB from Jamaica, Queens. So I mean, none of this stuff developed in an island. We all were interconnected by generations.
Right.
And the thing was that it's a mentality, bro. You'll meet a lot of new cats, and you'll tell them history, and they'll just plug their ears like, "Hey, I don't want to hear it. I'm the fucking man. This is my time now."
Right. They get so they get this.
Right. So they're unteachable. And me and Optic, we looked at our neighborhood elders as heroes and as older brothers. So when it came time for like Attack and Sonar and all these cats coming in, we're like, yo, thank you, like that saved us years of trial and error, I mean, like my my mentor Sonar was retired already. He wrote from 82 to 90. I met him in like the early 90s. He already quit, but his style was so good that just even looking at his scrap pieces of paper and sketches, my style elevated like a few degrees overnight. So I mean, I always thank them, and I've never grown too big for my shoe size to say that I surpassed anyone. Even though they'll say that, I'm like, no way. The stuff that they were doing back then was just, to me, was just like the epitome, top notch, graph. So
where's he at now? Where's Sonar? Is he still around, Sonar? Where's he at?
I believe he is, man. I lost touch with him. He was stuff was going on, and I was busy with the children. They were younger at that time, and so we kind of lost touch, But I mean, it's all good, man. I got love for my elders always, So hopefully I'll reconnect with them.
And then on top of that, to add on, so Sonar was no sucker. He was an educated brother. He was a social worker, and he would help immigrants, coming into America and like help establish them and into programs and stuff like that. So he's a master degree holder, and so he was very well educated and a good civilized human being, So that was the plus with some of our elders,
And it's far few in between when you hear about graffiti artists that had an education, were eloquent when they needed to be, and had good jobs. Back in the 80s, that was something. Like, I interviewed my boy AT not long ago. He talked about the Rider Revenge crew that was owned, by Heat, and he told me that Heat was actually a professor, a teacher there in the school. And I remember that old Heat piece on 291 in Bushwick. And growing up for myself, the people that I looked at as far as like who got me interested in graffiti, as far as the big pieces, I used to always remember Adam out there in the South Side. Go out there in the South Side, see these big pieces. Adam.
In fact, him and Cat. I remember when they did that piece in on Hevermeyer.
That's right.
Adam and Cat.
And then another one was Ev and Broadway on Broadway Avenue, which is kind of like a dark avenue, for the 80s. I mean, this is after the blackout, right? It was recovering from the blackout, and so I remember this one gate. It had this gigantic, like a mouse or a rat, huge, like 15 feet tall. This huge rat, just like chilling, with a Kango on. I was like, damn. And that was pretty neat, and that was what really got me interested. Then I started, looking at some other artwork that was out there with Lee and Dondi and Futura and Zephyr, all these folks. And but growing up in my household, I was still young, you know. I was still trying to figure out why is my brother writing poor all over the place. Like everywhere I look, I go to the kitchen. His name is written on a napkin. He's writing on the cereal boxes. He's writing on the desks. He's everywhere I go. I'm walking outside. I'm seeing his name on the poles. I'm walking to the train.
It's meant to addiction. Like you had to see your name.
Like, what is wrong with my brother? All over. So growing up initially, like I kind of detested it. I was like, man, this is. You know, why are you scribbling all over the place? You know, and to me, it was something that I didn't like. It didn't appeal to me. It wasn't until maybe 5 years later or 6 years later when I started becoming, my mid-teens, 15, 16, where I started getting interested in graffiti because it's kind of like you are who you associate with, right? I mean, in Bushwick, Brooklyn, growing up, there were only a few choices you had. You were either going to be selling drugs, you're going to be doing drugs, you're going to be robbing people, into graffiti, or you're a mama's boy, right? And I was like right on the borderline of being a mama's boy and writing graffiti. So the other stuff it didn't appeal to me, and so I said I gravitated to the graffiti, even though I hated to see the tags and the writing all over the place. But I like the nice big pieces, I was like, wow,
the mule,
the M's, the double L when it was the double L train, right? So that's when I started getting more interested in. This was like the mid '80s. So my first tag I used to write was DIN, D-I-N, which was doing it nice. It was a tag. I was
acronym, doing it nice.
Books, and then my actual tag rated was given to me from my cousin GA. It was either him or G. I think it was GA that gave me the tag rated, and this is like. Me and my boys discussing like, what are you gonna write? I was with Designer, DSR, GA, JC, and this is just like local kids, local graffiti artists back in them days, and so like things kind of flourished from there, with the U5 and all the everything that came with being a graffiti artist. Now, when Optick and Smend, when you guys are out there writing, tell me about any crazy stories. I know you probably got 1,000,001 stories, whatnot. Let's go with the first one with you, Smend. Give me a crazy story that occurred with you.
Man, off the bat, man. Well, one I could say was, it was me, and two other writers. We climb up and we swear that we're being quiet about it. We were not. So we're making all types of noise getting up there, and now we're thinking like, I'm like, duh. So we got in from the post office, right at the corner of Jamaica and Woodhaven. So anyways, we climb up on the post office, then we climb down, go through an alleyway, climb up Columbia, and now we're at that rooftop. Now I'm rocking this rooftop, I'm doing the outline, I'm doing the fill in, and all of a sudden one of the cats looks left and right and takes off. I'm like, oh shit. We see the flashlight. My homeboy, he takes a few leaps and bounds, and they jump right off the post office like it's nothing. This was like 3 stories high. They land on their feet. When I'm getting there, cars are everywhere. Sirens, the spinning lights are there. So they on an alarm or saw something got tripped on the bank, right? So I literally tear off freaking ventilation shaft, climb in there, cover myself back up with it. They're literally walking on the roof where I am. I'm hearing the gravel crunching, and I'm seeing the flashlight, and I'm like, dude, you know what? I'm gonna try. Even if they catch me, they pull me out, they call me a dumbass or whatnot, I'm gonna try. I stayed there until dawn came. The sun comes up. I'm still in there. I'm like, yo, I ain't coming out for nothing. Then it's like 9. It's almost 9 in the morning now. So I'm thinking now people are coming into the post office.
Banking hours.
Banking hours. Exactly. So then I was like, okay. I think it's been a few hours now, dude. How the hell they did not see me? I don't know, because a part of me is scared to death, but a part of me is curious to see what the hell's going on. So they literally shone the flashlight, and I looked down. Now I'm thinking I'm slick, but obviously it was a second or two, delayed reaction where a flashlight could probably catch you. So I don't know what that was, man. I think like by that time, me and Optic gave my poor parents so much problems already with graph and all going through the system so many times. I think the Almighty threw me a oh man, that was stupid. But yeah, another one right before I left New York, me and Snatch, man. It was our cruise. So going back to the Baby 168 and PO and Sonar and stuff like that. Sonar had a couple of choice words about Kraftwerk, and I loved Kraftwerk style. I saw just Noma in spray can art. I was like, yo, this is a dope style, But Cruise back then had their so me and Snatcher at the Van Wyck were painting, and we are trying to outdo each other. We're going as wild as possible. We're in there for hours. Instead of just doing a bunch of shit and getting the fuck out, we're like chilling, doing, and of course, Vandal Squad rolls up. So between getting thrown on the ground and cuffed and this and that, they actually complimented our train. They're like, "Yo, that shit is dope." And they took pictures. I'm like embarrassed. I'm just like, man, this sucks. But yeah, man. I mean, we went through the grinder a few times, but. Alive and well, thank God, alive and well. I mean, there's a lot of people who did not fare as well, But bro, I was gonna say, man, you and GA were a huge influence on us as well through Newsflash and the Graph News. Man, we always look forward to those, man. We would catch those at the Soho Zat and whatnot. So I actually had my boy Snatch. We talked about this. We're like, yo, we need to put out a nice, cool, kind of like a guerrilla warfare type grassroots thing, So kind of like GSXL and you guys. So
I was about to mention that magazine GSXL with Sasha and those guys.
Yeah. Well, Vec 4 actually is uncredited. He's been on that staff a lot longer. Yeah. So Sasha started it, but he passed it off to Vec 4. And Vec 4, another influence. He was all about the throw-ups, but he has one of the most extensive photo collections I've ever seen. I was at his house just like, wow. For hours looking through his albums. I mean, it was like when I got out, if any. Now I see a record in the background, so I'm pretty sure you were into the DJ culture and all that stuff too, right?
Yeah, well, these albums here. This one is actually painted by Jesus Saves, but
okay.
I've got a number of different albums here that are painted by different folks, whatnot. I picked these up by this event that was occurring in Bushwick from this lady named Jazzo, who has she has an organization that sponsors and promotes artists there in Bushwick, right near my old block there in Ditmars, quite frankly.
That's cool.
So, but I do have, and it's funny you mentioned Graph News because GA didn't even have original copies of his magazine that I helped put together as well back in the days. And so there I was, making copies, getting these copies made for GA to go and present to him. And I've got basically every issue here in this makeshift U5 museum or something to pay homage to. That's all the members. So yeah, I'd be happy to go and share those with you. And I also have the magazine that I began, which is called the U5 News Flash. When I started the U5 Enterprises magazine, I started that in Zimbabwe, Africa. And so I've got about I think it ran for about 3 or 4 years. I had about 75 issues, and then I wound up stopping that when I started getting into the politics, whatnot. So Poor, let's get in. Let's talk about a little bit. Maybe one crazy situation you had. One of your outlandish stories when you were writing Graph.
I know the guy was with PF. It was a long time ago when we was living on Wilson Avenue, and me and PF were going bombing. So we used to be right there on Jefferson and Knickerbocker, where there used to be a Chinese restaurant. So I go inside, not knowing that they were having a spot there, and the police come. So I'm in the basement. I'm scared, and there was a hole. And I saw a chair, and I climbed up on the chair. And I climbed up into the hole, and I swung this chair with my foot. But it was crazy, and I seen them coming, and they looking around like, and I'm trying to figure out where the hell is fucking Andre. And he's upstairs in his apartment. I'm downstairs in the basement, scared to death, saying, "Oh my God, I don't want to get caught. The moms are gonna kick my butt," you know. And it was just like, those are just moments that just, and in the spur of the moment, you go to just have fun, and just everything gets chaotic, you know.
Yeah.
How did you start your throw? Your throwies are very popular. I remember the poor throwies.
That was so funny. It was so funny how I don't even remember. Remember a little P.O. He used to live on Knickerbocker where he used to like D.I.
Right, I remember him. Yes.
He used to draw. He was a good artist. And being there watching him, he was helping me. And then I just added more flair to it on myself. And for some time, we together, we was bombing. I just got like him.
Optick, over to you. Here's a question. Now, there were those artists that were there, and they were talking more about their rap style was so different from like the stuff here on the East Coast or even on the West Coast. It was more.
Was it more good? Like
it was more philosophy, more philosophy that was involved,
like,
than anything
well,
else.
In Dallas, we call Sudan, in the Nation of Gods and the Earth's Atlas. But in Dallas, you have two types of hip hoppers out there. You got the backpacker, whatever, the boom bap heads. So the person I introduced you to was Easy Eddie D, who's the godfather of hip hop in Dallas.
Oh,
and
yeah?
he grew up with Erykah Badu, who has the neo soul side, and her, I wouldn't say commercial, but her underground commercial success side, the Roots and Talib, Kweli,
Right. Yes, that's what I was grabbing
like that. And then Easy Eddie D got the streets, like all the independent artists and people who coming up, and Dallas is so much in competition on trying to get an identity that they tried their best to be either California or New York. But they got their own style. They need to understand they have their own Southern style. And the crew I was with, they were all from Harlem and Queensbridge. So, I introduced you to General Z and the Funk Tactics crew. And then we took a ride up to the radio station. So, it's like they're very influenced off of the boom bap hip hop, conscious rap. But
that was the word I was looking for, the conscious rap. And what was it? The radio station was KWON, something to that effect?
KNON.
KNON. So shout out to KNON then. Because it was really nice going over there, and actually we conducted a small interview there as well. Now I want to talk about also Smend. One of the things that really drew me to your artwork was your ability to rock pieces with a freaking big pen. Just a freaking pen, one color, and you can go and create so much depth, so much intricacy with a pen. I just thought it was amazing. I was about to go and call your brother and find out if there was any AI implanted in you, because I remember you were just rocking these sketches. It's like every couple minutes you're zinging me another sketch, and like, this is impossible for someone to go and sketch this quickly. So I wanted to make sure that AI had nanotechnology in your blood, or no AI incorporated within your brain. Like you haven't gotten with Elon Musk or any of these folks had anything implanted in you, right?
I actually drew Elon Musk, but brought Elon into existence. Nah, but I'll go aside though. But the cats. Once again, man, I always have to give it up to my influences, man. If you remember Web Chaos and Kenji Python, PIC crew, those cats were like that too. They were, you give them a black book, a week later, you get 50 pages in there, and all of them were like master burners, and it's like, the thing is, you gotta, it's not even a talent. It's I would say it's a work ethic, like you just have to keep doing it. So those guys who want to do that one perfect piece, quote unquote, it's always gonna fall short. You're trying to do that one perfect symphony, that one perfect thing. It ain't gonna happen like that, man. You just do a bunch. You're always gonna find a flaw in a connection or an extension or any type of thing. You're going for the bigger picture, the overall funk of it. So my approach to graph is that it's got to be somewhat readable. I'm not gonna go into any rice-a-roni bullshit that all this stuff is everywhere. Has to be readable enough. Has to represent New York, and the rest of it just comes with it. So there's no philosophy except like how Nike says, just do it. Just have that work ethic and rock as much as possible. If you can't rock on a wall, rock on paper. If you can't rock on paper, put your hand right in the air like you just don't care, and just muscle memory.
I was talking about the era that we grew up in. Like I grew up watching shows like this, Little House on the Prairie, right?
Yeah.
We grew up in the era of AOL. We had dial-up. People don't even know what the hell, you got mail. What does that mean? What are you talking about? The Gremlins, right? The 80s.
Most
Gremlins.
definitely, yeah.
These days they don't know.
That was a
highlight. That was a Gremlin. Right? Growing up, listening to folks like Public Enemy, right?
No doubt. Yeah. No doubt.
So, when it comes to graffiti, though, there were a couple people that did something so different, but when you saw an image, it wasn't their name, but you instinctively knew that, hey, this is this person. For me, it was Roaches, right? You go on the streets, get roach spray paint, like, what the?
Absolutely.
And it was Roaches, the B crew. Was there anyone that came out that kind of stuck out that didn't necessarily write their name, but had something image that was on the trains that you associated with the artist?
Okay, so Roaches, of course. I was going to mention them anyways, because even outside the trains, I got into graffiti through DJing and the club scene. So a lot of the pics I sent you are record labels and A-sides and B-sides, right? I sent you a few of those. So Roaches was actually doing people's, jeans and jean jackets and all that stuff. So even when he was, when he was out of sight, R.I.P. Roaches, man, he was a good dude. But even when he wasn't around, when he was away, people still had like jean jackets and jeans with that Roach. So I didn't know him as a graffiti artist. I knew him as this almost like an icon, like a label. Right. That's the best way I can put it. He was a brand. So him, that dude who used to do all the mosaics in Astor Place in the East Village on the lamp poles and everything. I don't know if you remember that guy.
Yeah, Steve Herring.
No, it wasn't Steve Herring. He would literally have little tiles, little mosaic tiles,
and he just stick them all around the place.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. He'd make flowers and cityscapes and all that shit. Yeah. So him. Andre Charles with the Zone TCT,
with the footprints, right?
And Mirage, and so all these cats who had like that.
Who that was.
Yeah.
I always
so like
with the foot with the toe.
Okay. So
remember,
that was Mirage, I think. Yeah.
We remember, like for instance, if I heard saw the name Conan. You think that Conan was this big hulking, big guy with a big black hair, and perhaps he was Sumerian, like the Conan magazine, and he was a bit barbaric, right? You see Conan, you see him up a lot as well. In New York City, you see the babies. The guy used to draw those big babies all around the place. Smurfy, the big Smurfy faces on the trains.
Yeah.
Who did you see out there, Optick?
Exactly.
Zone TCT, definitely. with the baby Jupiter everywhere. And then I finally met him, threw me down with the crew. Really good guy. There was this one guy, he used to tag up in the streets all the time in Jamaica. He had Parsley Boulevard on lock, 164th Street on lock. Zero C SEA TV crew or DWB crew, Dirty White Boys from out there. And he used to make this bomb icon with this one eye with this
right, I remember that with the bomb. Yeah, with the fuse, almost like it was burning.
Yeah,
I remember that. Wow.
I used to always imitate that. And then of course you got the the Superman S with the 6 lines.
Oh yeah, I remember doing that.
Can't forget my partner, my boy Kaiser, with his TV.
Yep, he was dope. Yeah.
I think Kaiser came out with the. Was he the original one that came out with the throwing that didn't have a top or bottom or something like that? He did
that was he should just have it half like that, just have with the X on the eye and then the mouth. Smiley face.
And
rest in peace, good brother, man.
There was another guy named the guy who used to do those throwaways that resemble frogs. I don't know, they look like frogs to me. And MAP. MAP, they used to do butterflies or something.
The butterfly arm, yeah.
Yeah, the back end. Yeah, he was up everywhere. He had all the rooftops, man. He was a very good original. He had a good concept.
Yeah.
But man, I can't really recall too many iconic characters like that. It was mostly throw-ups and tags for me, you know. And it was a lot of neighborhood stuff like I said, the AFC crew attacking them guys. They all had one-letter throw-ups, so they would have he would have his A's, then Defter would have his D's, and then Nut would have his N, and then Drake would have his DRs. It was like those are the people I grew up with, and I went to school with all the little brothers and cousins. So I was a junior high school head, and then the story, one of the crazy stories with me is when I was in junior high school, I was 12, and my boy turned. I turned 13. My boy Turner was 12. Turner 138 TERN. One of the youngest riders I knew around my age who knew everybody. And he was the first one to take me tunneling. We used to cut junior high school. Just run tunnels and explore tunnels all the time. And come back home dusty as hell.
We're right.
Come on, and then one day,
what? I used to come home. My mother used to get so upset when I used to come home. My pants be all dirty with ink spots, dirt. And y'all talking about sneakers? That was a wrap. Once you go in the tunnel, it was over.
Head to toe. Yep.
Yo, it's crazy.
Any of you guys climbed up on the top of a train and watched the work bums walk by, or Vandal Squad, or All Rider?
A few times, especially in Whole layup.
I got chased, and did some hiding myself, you know. But
have you ever brought an animal? Raise your hand if you brought an animal to do to go piecing. Remember, I used to have this dog named Inky, and the predecessor to Inky is Alley Cat, which I started using as our company, the U5 Enterprises mascot. But Inky, our pet Chihuahua, I go and draw her face all over the place in Brooklyn. I remember going to Williamsburg Bridge and just putting Inky faces all over on the Williamsburg Bridge. Me, I was with Asp. May he rest in peace. Sony, may he rest in peace. I think Niker was there that day, and there I was, like putting up this dog, the Inky face. I used to, if you remember the New York Post, they used to have these little cartoons, and you have to go and find the little dog and the little man hiding.
Oh, yeah, the little boy in the hat, yeah.
And that's where I get the idea to go and start writing Inky all over the place. And
you actually took Inky with you bombing?
Yeah, we took her over to the U5 Freights. We used to always take her over to U5 Freights. And I remember in Halsey layup, Audi used to take his pet hamster. He used to have a pet hamster he keep in his pocket named Diana. He took the freaking hamster bomber with him. It was crazy.
You kidding me? Yeah, that's kind of bugged out, right?
You know the U5 presence out there.
Rated. I remember Inky, and I remember these shadow characters you would do. It was just an outline only. I thought, what did I see? It was on like Atlantic and Woodhaven, I'd like to say, or around there.
Yeah.
So I was like,
yeah, and it's funny because I used to love the Shadow because it was, I've always been drawn to like, the comic culture, all things Americana. So I've got a huge comic book.
Oh yeah.
And I remember, I gravitated to all the radio shows from back in the days. Like, the Shadow was one of them. Well, when the first was that, you hear the clock ticking, and then you hear, the intro, the Shadow knows. Do you know what time it is? It's the Shadow knows. And so I remember me, Audi, I think Womanizer, Famer, and a few others. We would say, "Yo, let's go and draw." How would this look like if we were to go and outline our bodies? So we go and pose on the wall, and then someone go and outline our features, even our hats. And then we go and put, the Shadow, or sometimes I throw up my son who hadn't been born yet, Fantasy. I put Fantasy up, Fantasy U5.
I've seen that. Yep.
Yeah, that was pretty neat. I still have a couple of those photos too. Matter of fact, the most popular one was the outline of one person punching another person. One of them was like this, and the other one had like his arm extended to go and strike the other person. So people were like, "Yo, that was pretty cool."
Who had that?
Yeah, Arion, man, he rested. He used to always go out bombing and do that as well. And we used to go and come with crazy names like, okay, today you're mustard and I'm ketchup. So we'd be like tagging up ketchup, and he'd be like mustard, Or we just come out and just be out there writing some silly names. But man, rest in peace to our boy Arion U5.
Rest in peace, man.
I want to add on that I just thought about the icon thing. Two of one of my favorites were Trap with the T's and Enough with the EUs. Those were legendary. Really, and then of course Rap throw-ups were just amazing. Everywhere.
Yeah, Coke 2 had a lot of his throws was crazy too. Coke 2, how he used to always do his COPE.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was those traps, those tees, man. What?
It was
those
big.
They were nice, man.
The script tags.
Too.
Another one of my favorite writers was Coma on Northern Boulevard, Corona, Queens. He would have these C's, and the C throw-ups were dope. Yeah. So those really stood out.
I remember seeing Coma out there, and MQ had a nice style too.
Yeah.
When he did his
Yeah. MQ Francis. Yeah. Yep.
That whole TA7 crew too, at TA7, those guys, Saz and all those guys out there, TA7, shout out to TA7 crew. But yeah, let's talk about BMK. What's up with that? Talk to me about BMKs, man.
BMK, man. We started as Beyond Mankind, but then we expanded into, man, it's a bunch of stuff, man. Beyond Man's Knowledge, and go ahead, Optic. What'd you say?
Buddha Monk Clan.
Oh yeah, man. There's joints, man. But in kind of keeping with like the next generation type of stuff, the stuff that we were growing up with, like when a crew gets at a certain generation, they usually close the books, and I don't know, man. So we kind of felt like there needed to be a crew keeping up with Jamaica Queens, because like TWB was a little before our time. IF was like right there, they closed the books. So we kind of were keeping with a lot of those styles, continuing on. With BMK right now, I would say that, I don't want to speak on it in a disparaging way, but we're more of a stepping stone crew that we launched a lot of writers onto other crews as well, and then we kept a council writers that have stayed with us for 20, 30 years. So, but the thing is that I would like to say that my main influences that were out there, thankfully, they all got down with BMK at one point. My homeboy Smurfy, he was BMK. Or is. I'm not gonna use the word was. So my boy Smurfy, Andre Charles, aka Zone TCT BMK, and then my homeboy, rest in peace, Shay from the Sound Vandals, TSV crew from Bensonhurst, Shay. So a lot of the pics that I sent you with the record covers and the A sides and the B sides, they have a lot of joints by Shay and by Breeze and Cab One and a couple of other cats. But I actually got Kev TM7, of course. He was the illustrator extraordinaire. We learned a lot from watching those things as well, along with the handball courts. But yeah, man, BMK, I would say that we just like tradition and we keep with it, man. It's nothing against the buzzword that a lot of people use, evolution. I believe if you want to carry your letters in some direction that you feel like, it's all you. But I like I like keeping the tradition of the stuff I grew up with. It's not for lack of creativity or whatnot. It's just to keep up with the tradition. All the heads that have put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into that style, into bombing. A lot of people who are forgotten by time. A lot of people who are not documented, like the brother Poor mentioned, Cope 2, who I believe is a little too heavily documented. I mean, props to him, respect. He put in a lot of work, but the documentation is a lot. A lot of it is there, versus people like Meek 4, Vec 4, Smurfy, Demo, Sir, and like a lot of these cats that came before that did not get their notoriety on. Yeah, and there's a lot of cats, man. A lot of cats who could burn a lot of the cats who got recognition, all the local underdogs and stuff like that. So BMK is in homage to keep their styles alive still. So I like to consider myself a vessel for tradition. So yeah, man, that's.
Now we gotta give props to the new ones. Like my brother, his RTGs is crazy. His rated, how he does his RTGs. Mm-hmm. And it's so funny how you see my brother and him writing with GA, and they're doing their thing. They got they're getting their team up, and here it is past 10 years, and they're still strong. Like, would think that, look at the accomplishments from doing what he did to get his magazines, getting the acknowledgement of a writer. And I always look at it, I'll be like, I'll give my brother his props, man. He busted that. And it doesn't look like he did, but nobody doesn't see all you did to get to where you at. It's not easy,
Yeah. Hey, for those that are just joining us right now, this is Rated U5, aka RTD U5. That's right, from Bushwick. I'm over here with my big brother Poor from Kings Only. So we've got this session here talking about brothers that write, and we've got two stellar brothers right now in our midst, Smend and Optick, BMK U5. And we just want to go and let you guys know out there that are watching this episode that it is pretty interesting and pretty it's pretty dynamic when you've got two siblings in the same household that grew up in the 80s and writing graffiti whatnot. And I wanted to go and have this sort of episode when we talk about how it was growing up amidst it all. You're coming into your own. You're developing your own characteristics and molding into who you are as a person, whatnot. And trying to deal with the streets, right? You got the streets, which are dangerous and perilous in the 80s. You can get rolled up on by not only graffiti crews, but gang members out there, and even the police themselves. And you got a lot of dirty police out there from a number of precincts in New York City. And so there was a lot of things to contend with. So let's talk about 2001. The towers go down, right? Where were you, Smend, when that occurred, and how did that affect you when the towers fell?
Well, I was doing two jobs at the time. I was EMT, so not quite a paramedic at that time. I also had a part-time job at a hotel, so I was doing night audit, the third shift, and in the morning, all hell breaks loose, and I mean, that's one of those things that you ask somebody, where were you when JFK was shot, or Pearl Harbor or whatnot. So 9/11 was our generation's where were you moment, man. It was nuts, man. So going into the EMT thing, here I am as a first responder, and I would have people who would refuse my help because of, my brown skin and all that stuff. So they would it became a very suspicious us versus them. You got to prove your patriotism all the time. And I'm like, come on, I live here. I eat here. I work here. Obviously I love the country. I don't have to keep proving over and over or apologizing for something that I didn't do. So it kind of took anybody with an Asian or Middle Eastern descent into a very crazy area. So I mean, it's happened in the country with the Japanese internment camps and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Thank goodness that didn't happen to that degree. But things are still in the works. Obviously, I'm not gonna go open up a rabbit hole or a conspiracy, dugout about this whole thing. I've got my own speculations and everything that we could build upon. But it's 9/11 was what they call a beta test to see who goes with that. Then our most current quote unquote pandemic was definitely the 9/11 2.0 to check who's gonna be snitching, who's gonna turn into businesses. So all these are gonna be little hoops that we go through, and hopefully we could keep our minds sharp. We could learn patterns, and that's the thing, man. You gotta give the tone of being indoctrinated enough so people don't jump on you, but then at the same time you gotta be a free thinker, and you gotta be educated. You gotta keep yourself physically and mentally strong, because it's just beginning, man. It's just gonna get so much crazier. So people who are up on their revelations and all that stuff like that, you might want to open that up as an instruction manual these days, because it's crazy.
Yeah. If you haven't seen it yet, there's this I think it was I don't know how many hundreds of pages, but it was the 911 Truth Commission. It was basically a report of the findings of the September 11th and whatnot. I remember I was actually still in the military. I was a New York City recruiter. So imagine that, me leaving in 1992, joining the military. Then all of a sudden, I'm back in New York City as a U.S. Army recruiter. And here we have it. I'm on my way to work. I had just left Fort Hamilton down in Brooklyn. It's funny because I lived 20 years in New York City, didn't even know there was a military base in Brooklyn, right? So there I am, leaving Fort Hamilton, heading up towards Ridgewood, Queens, where the recruiting station lied, and just noticing when I was on the Gowanus, heading up towards Queens, Brooklyn, from downtown Brooklyn, Tower 1 on with the smoke billowing out of Tower 1.
Wow.
I already knew there was something going on, because what the hell? And I didn't see the plane hit. That's the thing, because it was a clear day. I didn't even see that freaking first plane hit, but I could sure see that smoke billowing from Tower 1. And by the time I reached the promenade there in Brooklyn, the Brooklyn Promenade, then I heard, I had already pulled over to the side. I was calling it in, speaking with my station commander, telling what I saw. They thought I was on crack. They said, get your acid off, because you don't know what you're talking about. Then I heard the second explosion, which presumably the second plane hitting, which I didn't see either. And then all of a sudden, all hell breaks loose. But now, look, we're living post 911. That changed everything. That changed the way we travel. That changed, everything. The TSA. They changed are obviously our strategic alliances and on and on. And set the stage for the invasion of Iraq. I mean, it just did so many things that, quite frankly, it was really egg on the face of the United States from a political standpoint. And I'm not going to go and change the whole down, but I would say that, yeah, it's one of those things that it was one of those things that make you go, moments. And,
right, absolutely.
And so let me ask Optick, your brother Optick. Optick, what September 11th, what was going on your mind? What happened then?
Well, before that happened, man, we were in the brink of incline, man. We were becoming so advanced. Gas was cheap. Hip hop culture was at its peak. Music was dope. Everybody enjoyed each other's music, and it was dope as hell. And then 9/11 hit, and a big gloom came upon the whole world. Everything got dumbed down. They took away jazz, funk, and soul from everybody. And then just dead bullshit came about, and then everybody thought that they were the shit. But I was a security captain for a security company at that time, and I was going to school, so I was in college at that time when my city, and I was in Dallas, Irving, Texas, and Dallas, Fort Worth. And later that night, I had to go to work, put on my uniform, captain bars and shit, and people were looking at me with my last name on there, which is Islamic name, and everybody's looking at me like I'm crazy. Like, it was Raider.
I could imagine. Damn.
I didn't give a fuck, man. Back the shit out of them.
Rated. So I mean, I was.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was like I said, but being a first responder, I was literally loading somebody from a car crash, right? Jaws of life and all that stuff. We're loading them on, and they're literally saying that I don't want this sand N-word, And I'm like, dude, I'm saving you. Like, what the hell, So yeah, man. And to piggyback off of Optick, there was a lot of. In the 90s coming up, there was racial harmony. Everybody was into each other's art and everything. There was a lot of cohesion and mixing of a lot of the cultures, where the urban and the suburban and everything was coming together. And the 9/11 act, the symbolicness of it just drove a wedge right through, and race relations were the same. And everybody got into their own little enclave and became really divided, and it is never healed, man. Ever since then, it's still I could still feel all that division. Yeah, it's nuts, man. But you'll go ahead, Optick.
And to add on, it was necessary because it revealed who people really were, So in Texas, red state, racism out fucking, I don't even know where to start, but so much racism out there, and everybody was a racist. Everybody just shifted their hate onto so-called Muslims or onto brown people. And they were so dumb. They were going after the Hindus and people who aren't even Muslim, so it was like they were just having this excuse to target other people. And then if you look at the news, the media was putting red squares and target squares on people and stuff like that, and then mispronouncing their names on purpose, trying to scare, so-called whoever, so-called patriots or so-called hicks everywhere around the country to be afraid of anybody with an Islamic name, So it was hell, man. But in the graph game and the hip hop culture in general and the entertainment industry, everything got dumped down. They divided and conquered us real well.
So when it comes to how about this question? This question is to my brother Poor. 1989 hits. We no longer have Mayor Edward Koch, right? He was a mayor there in New York City. He started the whole movement for wiping graffiti out, and so Giuliani hadn't come on board yet. I think we had David Dinkins as well that came on board afterwards. He was the first black mayor for New York City. Not that race has anything to do with what we're talking about, but 1989, the trains were clean, right? They were buffed.
The white trains had passed by.
Yeah, how did you see that transition occur with the trains? One day you see all this fantastic artwork, and then all of a sudden a week later they're all buffed. What was going through your mind during the buff?
It was, in a way, it was kind of shocking. We heard that it was gonna happen, but we didn't know how true it was gonna be. Because sometimes you see like the whole 8 cars for the set, and one will be buffed, and all the other cars will still have. Right. So we were still hoping that it would still, be, at least some of our throws will still be up floating and all of that. But then when we went to Broadway Junction and we looked, and we seen everything, no white, it was like, wow, now what's gonna happen? So before, they already had the trains already transitioned to selling them white, but they didn't finish making the spot where they clean them. They were doing it by hand,
Wow.
It was scrubbing them, right? They were in those outfits, kind of like military, with the big brushes, because those were things trying to get out.
With the
and I think that a lot of the people that worked, the work bums, the people that were cleaning the trains, they were actually being exposed to these harmful chemicals, right? Because that's what they were. Right. And I can imagine the lawsuits that ensued from that. But yeah, you're right about the buff. They were actually done by hand initially.
Right. And then once they started, it was just, and then everybody was still trying to do the inside taking tags or whatever, but they had a new chemical that would just take it right off like nothing. And it was like, wow, we go out to take our time. But a lot of people was getting upset because of the ink and all of that. We understand, but shit, that took away our fun. But remember, we're starting to get older now. So we're finding other things to pass time to do stuff, Matter of fact, I want to ask, Optic, when did you started doing your graffiti? I mean, what made you start doing your hip hop music?
Just living in Texas and having the lack of hip hop music in New York, because in New York we had Stretch and Bobbito.
Oh my God! Every Tuesday, I'll never forget.
So that was the thing to listen to. I would always get invited to Tramps to see performances. The Zulu Nation annual meetings. I'd run into Necro and Ill Bill and then the Arsonist and stuff like that. This is before I left New York. This is like the late '90s.
Right.
Hip hop was just like becoming a universal thing, man, and it was dope. It was around that time we had our hip hop heroes and stuff. So this was before I realized how weird the Zulu Nation was starting to get, and before the Bambaataa scandals and all that stuff.
Yeah. Because everybody used to go to 42nd Street when we used to go, on the weekends, used to go to 40 Deuce and hang out there, you know what I'm saying? You used to see Zulu Nation, Ball Busters and all that,
Yeah, that too. And so I was getting into the Third Eye movement. I was getting into my 120 lessons and stuff like that. I was building with some older gods and some
been there and done that.
And
associated with one.
When I came to Texas, it was just a bunch of commercial bullshit, man, and I was like, I ain't with this shit. So I had to reach into the New York hip hop shit.
Right, the depth of it. Because you're in another state, and they have a whole different type of their music.
Big culture shock. Big culture shock.
Yeah.
And then I finally, started writing rhymes, doing my studies, and started writing down my studies in the rhyme formation so I could, learn better.
And then I got a song that the beginning is it's all nothing but mathematical stuff. So yeah, I feel you.
Listen, I've got Let me interject real quick because I started with this thing on our YouTube page where we go in and promote U5 Enterprises. Obviously, we started U5 Enterprises as a way of remembrance for our lost brothers, Sony and Slick, initially, and obviously we lost scores of others. But we also have what I just started with U5 Hot Tracks, and so we have a lot of talent. We never had any videos, but we certainly had a lot of the CDs with some of the tracks from artists around the world. And U5, we got pretty popular globally. In 2016, we're able to actually have a U5 member. Get this, in every country on earth there was a U5 artist. That work was called World U5, and I had started it in 2009, 2010, and then we wound up wrapping it up. It took all the way up to 2016 for us to go and have an artist in every country. Guess who was the last country to get in on it?
Africa? No, not
country, not continent.
Oh, country.
No, country. It was North Korea. It was the last person they were the hardest.
Wow.
And it was a female artist there in North Korea, and I think she was probably risking her life just to even be a part.
Yeah. How the hell did you do that?
Why you say that?
We had people in Russia. We had people in Thailand, in Cambodia, in Myanmar, Zimbabwe, Sudan. Every country we had U5 artists, and we still have a lot of them out there promoting U5. And the thing is all about, when you see the name U5, you see the cube, you see the logo, you start knowing, okay, that was sort of back in New York City, and it was about Sony and Slick. It always gravitates back to Sony and Slick, and that was the whole purpose of it. So I like to go and perhaps work on some videos. I've already created one for my brother with his track.
Watch Me Now.
Watch Me Now. Yeah, that was an awesome track. So we've got that one already out. The song that I had sung, Curves, I actually created the video to that, so that's on there now. So yeah, I mean, if you're interested in having your a video laid out with your tracks, go and do so and promote, your art and your music at the same time. So right now we're at 8:40. We're kind of beyond the amount of time that we allow for these interviews, whatnot. But just to wrap it up, I want to see. Number one, we'll go into shout outs and see if you've got anyone you want to go and shout out to. And also, if you've got some art or you've got some sort of product that you want to go and promote, here's your time to do so. Let people know how they can reach you or reach out to, get, some sample of your artwork. And, when this video is all said and done, I'm gonna populate it with a lot of the artwork from our time out there in Texas and before and after that. So we'll start first with you, Optick. Any shout outs, anything you want to leave to the hip hop culture?
I just want to also add on and say that I don't mean no disrespect to Texas. It's just my observation as a New Yorker moving to Texas with a culture shock, seeing a different aspect of version of hip hop culture,
Sure.
and to add on to that, hip hop stands for, or the acronym is highly intelligent people honoring one's power. So the difference between hip hop and rap. Hip hop is a culture, and rap is the package and whole expression of our culture. I just want to say, give a strong shout out to all the people who raised me, Black and Puerto Rican people. That's who I represent out here. My mentors, Smend, Sonar, Diego 127, who was my best friend and still is today. Cypher, our tight-knit circle, and everybody who represents us now. Bates from Denmark, he's taken my outlines and blessing walls with it, which is amazing. And it shows that the graffiti gods and ancestors are watching over us and protecting us and guiding us to where we have to be as our purpose as being artists, you know, or style writers. Case 2, Phase 2, rest in peace. And all the writers who passed away, rest in peace. Spear, KDM, shout out and salute to him. He's also a dope MC and verbal threat. And everyone I grew up around, and anyone who I missed. Shouting out, you know, love to you. You know, I've got so little of time to put it all in one. But Queens gets the money, you know. So shout out to the 5 boroughs. U5, shout out to y'all, man. Growing up, you guys were legends. I heard the legendary stories about the all crew meetups y'all had and how you guys would. It was like the Warriors, y'all united.
Oh my God!
Like Cyrus did in the Warriors, yo. So that's. And before I even seen the movie The Warriors, as soon as I saw it, I was like, U5. So that was a powerful thing. Seeing them Audi tags in King of New York was dope as hell. You know, just your hand styles and everything, y'all were all dope writers, man. Nash, the legend of Nash, like, you know, ill shit, man. So you guys were straight up living legends, real superheroes in the streets, man. And y'all were all stick-up kids too. So y'all were all warriors. Y'all weren't these little, you know, backpackers and little, you know,
art bag.
Yeah, little art bags running around and shit. Y'all were actually out there fighting, duking it out, and helping mentor people. And y'all all had knowledge of self at that time too. So that was dope, you know. So just want to give that strong shout out to all the forgotten heroes and underdogs. You know,
Agreed. Yeah.
And shout out to those U5 members during those big battles that we had in the south side of Brooklyn and also in Queens, where we had the big, gigantic battles and fights, fist fights right there in the streets. It was just like a freaking war going on. Shout out to those folks like Arc U5, Rain, Play, Audi, Niker, Sony, may he rest in peace, Ariel, may he rest in peace, Little Dorset, Sale, you know, Famer, Spire, the whole U5 clan, all 5 chapters. Where are you guys at, man? Shout out to all U5 members from past and present. Also, people that carry on the name of U5 with U5 Enterprises as well, that weren't involved in the nitty gritty. You know, get your hands up and make, you know, making things happen when it comes to graph. But you know, here's an opportunity to go and carry that legacy of U5 that started in 1987. So we've been at it for a minute, yeah.
Art pieces were a big influence on me. Off J-Line, I would write J-Line just to see that one art piece.
Art. And
then the Audi piece, the Nash piece, forget about it, man. You guys are fucking dope, man. But you know, not to take away from anyone, but you guys were united. That's for sure. And that 501 crew, Fogs, Astro, and those guys, man. Shit. Kings, Josh, Easy, Josh 5 and those guys, J.A. even, you know, with the beats y'all had. Fucking legendary. I remember the beat with J.A. and Sony.
Right. Yeah.
Legendary, man. And Smend and Optick, tons of documents, stuff like that. With the flips.
Yeah, all the heavy hitters like in Manhattan, you know, whether it be VFur or RD, you know, 156 out there doing their thing. You had Doug, you know, you had John, you know, you had TPA crew, the Public Animals,
Saints,
our neck of the woods, BSK crew, KGB, WR, of course, Riders Revenge, NSK, that's doing their thing. So a lot of heavy hitters. KOR crew, shout out to KOR, Kings of Rock, Byro, the old crew, Viral, Peel, all those cats out there on Grove. Shout out to all y'all fellas as well.
And the handwritings were dope as hell. The handwritings and throws were dope as hell. I remember the thing when CE, UK, Nam, Nu, and Alski, those guys went out and hit them fucking streets with dope blockbuster piecing letters and shit, man. It's like CE.
Shout out to CE, man. My boy from UK crew, U5 crew, CE. He's putting in the work. He's got his own line. He's got shirts now. Hats. He's doing his whole merch thing. Shout out to CE.
And shout out to the Lower East Side. You know, I used to go and break at the Smith Projects, hopefully my boy Cypher and UN, and then shout out to the Bronx brothers, KTB and Kate, Des, Seared, and those guys were always like on some big brother shit with me, you know, and Coke too, of course, KD Crew, Bios and all that.
Yeah, and shout out to those cats like GTF crew with FN and RFC crew with Ladybug. People don't talk about these anymore. BB Hot, right? BB Hot crew.
Yeah, and then you know, in my era was RFC crew and Harold Hunter, rest in peace. You know, shout out to Kel 5MH and all those people who showed me love when I was a nobody. You know what I mean? But still somebody, and then they seen it. And that's one thing about New York is I took it for granted. Everybody out there was a fucking superhero, man, or developing into one. And then you leave the state of New York, and then you realize that nobody likes New Yorkers. You know.
Yeah, it's like that. It's like that when you go to other states and all that.
All right, Poor, your turn. Any last shout outs for you, Poor? Anything you want to say, leave out there to the hip hop culture?
Definitely, I'm going to give a shout out to my boy for a long time, Jazzy J and Mozzie D from Halsey.
Oh, DJ.
Avenue, yeah. And pretty much I want to give a shout out to most of all to all the graffiti writers that are out there still repping and still holding on to the memories that we had from when it really started, because it was war for real. When it just to get your name up, you definitely had to represent for real, you know. And even though I was away for a lot of it, but my name still was known, you know. And it's so funny that you come back to certain places and you still see your tag, and you're like, oh my God, you know, like how the hell? When did I do this? It's still there, you know. But I want to say rest in peace to Sony Slick, definitely. Kaiser RE, miss y'all to death. Wish y'all would have been here, you know? Yeah. But we hope you down KO for real. And to our family members who are no longer here with us right now, you know, looking down on us and hoping that we achieve a better goal, you know, for ourselves. And just to let everybody know, you know, sometimes life can be hard in the beginning, but it's what you make out of it that shows growth.
Right, and sometimes you have to reinvent yourself as well, you know? Don't get stuck on just on that one. Don't just have your blinders on. Reinvent yourself, do something different. And so, you know.
How I started now with the music now, I'm going crazy with it now.
Yeah.
And I'm getting recognition of it, you know? And
yeah. So
trying to leave my mark too, you know?
Absolutely. All right, man, up to you, man. You're wrapping this up with this interview. Shout outs, anything you want to leave to the culture. I can't wait to go and share your fantastic artwork. Big fan of Smend, big fan of Optick, big fan of my brother Poor. But yo, what you got on your mind? What you got to say?
Okay, so I've got a little project I've been working on since 2010 called Study of Styles. That is, I kind of borrowed that concept off of Back Jumps magazine. They would get one word and they would have other writers rocking it, right? So I've spoken to you already about that. Remember, Rated? Trade. So it's, you know, leaving New York, it was really hard to do a project like that, all digital. Because first of all, some people are also kind of weary, like, hey, why do you want me to do this? You know, this and that. And I'm like, it's only for the love of lettering. I don't need to bite your shit. You know, I've already got my style. I'm good. Thank you. But you know, I would like to use this little time on to also plug that. So anybody listening, shout at me on Instagram at CoolZSki, or just look up Smend BMK. You'll reach me. So I got a Flickr page. You just DM me any outline that says about or trade. You know, the doper the better, but that's not our prerequisite. It's a study of style, so all styles, you know. So with that, I would like to give my fellow U5 members a shout out. The cats who did help me out with that. GANSK, Ark, fantastic Ark. DJ Swave, what's up, DJ Swave? Hey, yo, the Swave is cool as shit, man. He rocked upon mankind. He hooked it up. So, my boy DJ Swave, Door U5, yo man, he is dope. Yeah, he's one of those dudes that if I was to battle him, it would be a damn good battle, you know. So Door, he's dope as shit. So
yeah.
And then you know, my Jamaica Queens heads, Enough, Smurfy, Rad, KOB. Oh, let's give Skate KOB a shout out too. He's dope. He's dope as shit. Skate KOB, dope brother, man. So yeah, Smurfy Enough, Rad KOB Baby 168, rest in peace Meek 4, and then Beck 4, Pig, all these cats, they all get a shout out. My mentor Sonar, Odyssey 3, Data, and all these cats I'm So Fine, aka Doe TPA, Zale IBM, bunch of cats, man, from Brooklyn. Give my older brother Snatch, CWK a shout out. I mean that's an older brother right there. Love you to death, bro. So yeah, Snatch, CWK, Ramp 311, rest in peace. Very good dude. I miss that cat every day. And Shea, SHEA from TSV crew out of Bensonhurst. Rest in peace too, bro. I love you to death, man. It's sad I can't call you anymore, man. Jerry TSV, Al Rock, Sil TSV, TPT crew, Share 37. What's up, bro? And AT and YD from Riders Revenge. Damn cool brothers, man. Dope throw ups. Big influence on me. So AT, YD, WR crew, definitely I'm rocking that till the day I die. And U5, United 5 crew, dope. Chapter 3, always, bro. I'm gonna represent that. U5 Chapter 3, King Rated in the house. And
Hellraisers unite!
Hey yo, Rated from the Third Base album cover.
Yeah.
Don't forget that you had your name on that train.
Yes, he did.
Right.
On the third Base album cover.
What?
Yep.
They pointed it out to me not long ago. I was like, seriously? And I've got a photograph of it. I'll have it here on the vid so people can check it out. And yeah, there was a big old tag. And this, you know what? I remember that can. That can was actually the paint they used to go and paint the underbody of a car to kind of like for insulation, that sort of thing. It was thick paint. And I remember taking that RTD tag, and there he was on Third Base.
That was dope too because that tag had like a chisel tip. That shit was dope, yeah.
It stuck out because it was so dark compared to the rest of the background and whatnot. And I think it had Third Base underneath.
I want to give one more shout out to a style master out of Brooklyn, man, and that's Keo X-Men. That guy.
KEO.
Yeah, KEO. When I first met him, I was still toying. He showed me mad love, man. It's like, you know, I miss those elders like that instead of those arrogant, conceited motherfuckers who just like brush you off, you know. So I want to give a big shout out to him because he helped inspire me to, you know, be a better person and a good style master. And, you know, dude's a humble dude, man. So
right. Craftwork Kings and X-Men crew. Shout out to those folks, man. They were doing some damage, man, back in the day. CWK crew, man. A lot of gifted artists coming out of Art and Design High School, and so those folks were really ahead of the power curve when it came to graffiti back in the 80s. So
absolutely.
And, Bomb 5 MW too. Strong shout out to him.
Bomb 5, yeah.
You know.
Yeah, all the folks from out there in Manhattan, you know, like you said, the 501 crew, you know, Jew, Sign, shout out to Speak, CEEK, Fogs, OS, shout out to OS. And I love to go and have 501 crew over here. It'll be kind of cool to have the whole crew over here. That'd be kind of neat. Man, what you got on your mind? You got something on your mind?
Just 3 shout outs. Say City, Scop, and Club PM7. And I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Because Say City and Scop did their shit big, legit. It was readable. That was some of the first graphs that actually got me into it. There's Say City and Scop, Demo, Pubo, and Psy, and Lust. You remember all those cats?
Yeah, I remember Demo. I got pictures right now of those folks right now. Maybe we'll go we'll do another vid with all of us. Bring you guys back on. See what you're up to. Talk about music. We'll start taking a look at some of the old art. I've got plenty of photographs here. A lot of them from Nash. A lot of them from taking pictures back in the days when you had to develop your film and all that sort of thing on the 110.
That's just that whole car.
That whole era, people just don't know, man. Before this whole digital era, man, we had to do things from scratch.
Real. People don't even know they don't even realize how fortunate they are right now.
That's right.
Easy. Because they just took away the ability of you doing it yourself, you know?
Yeah. It's a lot of shortcuts now, but that's what we got here. This is Rated U5. This is U5 News Flash. I want to go and thank the 2 brothers got here, Smend and Optick, for being on this episode, as well as my brother. So we got 2 pairs of brothers that wrote graffiti. Rated U5, Smend, Optick, and Poor. This is U5 News Flash, and we want to see you on the next episode. Check us out on U5 News Flash on YouTube. Look for our music. Right now, we're going to end this with Rad NSK. This is Rated U5. Peace. No time for me mugging, we ain't here for front end. We set it off, set it off from the left to the right. Everybody off the board, everybody on the floor. Put your hands up, cause we came to set it off and tear the club up. It's U5 in the house, we get high, alright. We gon' party all night, alright. Come on, everybody dancing, cause it's the brand